Excellent. Well, Alain, congratulations for Jiu Jitsu.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Did you have fun watching
I,
it?
I did. I actually watched it twice. I watched it by myself, and then I was like, you know what? I have to watch with a group of friends because I want to see their reactions.
Oh, cool. I'm happy to hear. That's great. So how was it?
It was great. It was entertaining. It was
Oh,
nothing what we expected because first, that trailer was like drawing everybody in, and
mhm.
then when you watch the film, it was like something different. So
Awesome.
it's very entertaining. So
Good.
so let me start off with the easy question. Why did you want to do a film like Jiu-Jitsu?
My God. So for so many reasons. Number one, I started in jiu-jitsu as a kid. That was my first martial arts, Canryu Jiu-Jitsu, which is a Japanese-style jiu-jitsu in Canada. And then I got into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu when I was 18 years old and been practicing ever since. Got my black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as well. So Jiu-Jitsu has been my life. So when Dimitri calls me and he says, Alain, listen, we're going to do this action sci-fi martial arts movie called Jiu-Jitsu. I'm like, yes. Okay. What is it about? And he tells me the premise, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so in. That's great. Yes, let's do it. And that's it. That's all it took. I mean, I knew who was involved. I knew it was cool. I knew like it was a movie that I would want to watch. We're on. I have to do it.
Well, I mean, after watching the film, it wasn't just about jujitsu. It was like all kinds of martial arts. How do you adapt to something like that when it requires all these different types of skills?
Well, it's number one. If you look at jiu-jitsu, we're exploring the history of jiu-jitsu, where it comes from. If you look at Japanese history, samurai arts. Well, samurais, which is I guess the origin of where more modern day jiu-jitsu comes from, they would start with long range weapons. Then they would get closer to close range weapons. Then they would get closer. They would start striking each other at a distance. From there, they would grab each other, eventually throw each other on the ground, and at that point, possibly choke each other out, break something, or strike each other. It's everything. It's a blend. Okay, and all kinds of other martial arts have pieces of that blend. Some are striking dominant, some are grappling dominant. So for me, when we looked at what we were going to do with this, and he told me, Dimitri said, "Okay, we got Tony Jaa. Oh my God, we have Juju Chan. Oh my God, we got Frank Grillo. Everyone, Maurice Crump. Every person, every cast member had a very specific skill set, either a combination of jujitsu elements or one piece of what it was. So for me, what I thought, I'm like, okay, well, if we do this, the way we have to do it, we have to say jujitsu has an umbrella. It's like a big umbrella. And we have to find elements no matter what. Let's say Tony's doing more Thai style striking. We got to find elements. So they do gripping and they do takedowns and they do locks, which are in jujitsu. That's the common trait. We have to find a common trait in every one of those arts to bring them together under the jujitsu umbrella. And that was our goal. And I think we definitely succeeded into doing that.
That's why you are the master of martial arts and not I.
I had tons of help, man. I had tons of help to bring the vision together. Dimitri already knew what he wanted to see on screen, which is great. Ryan Taran, who played Brax, had a huge background in Hapkido and Kundo, which is it's Korean arts, but with the sword. And then it was just finding the flavor for everybody. Like Nick Cage, we're like, what's Nick Cage in this story? He's the old wise samurai. That's who he is. That's what we're gonna make him. And all of a sudden, that's who we became, with a few good, cool, impressive moves as well. And then we did that for everybody. And then I consulted with the team. It was a big team effort.
I read somewhere that Nick Cage does actually know jujitsu. Did you? How was it like sparring with him, or at least the choreography with him?
Yeah, it was fun. Nick has a background in with Royce Gracie. He did some jiu-jitsu with Royce Gracie at the time, and he's also done some striking over the years. He's done multiple things, actually. But no, Nick was very enthusiastic. That's what I loved. I love the enthusiasm. Whether he's done tons of it in the past 5 years or not, he wanted to be there. He wanted to learn. He wanted to do as much as possible to look good on screen. And that was cool, and he enjoyed it. It was fun, really fun to work with somebody that was that enthusiastic about doing it.
Was he any good?
Absolutely, he was. Yeah, He was especially depending on what elements he had done more. But yeah, on the jiu-jitsu elements, we had him do some stuff. We had him do a oneer, grappling oneer, which is like a combination of moves all in one take. And he was very proficient at it. He was great. And then with his scene with me, he had a little more striking elements. We had some hand-to-hand stuff, quick hands that he totally caught on, and he did it in one session. So yeah, I was impressed by the way he was able to pick up choreography. It was really cool.
I understand most of the actors on this set are fighters. They're martial artists in one way or another. But Nick Cage is actually a veteran thespian. He's not a fighter in real life. He's actually an actor in real life. Did you feel kind of awkward on trying to choreograph fight scenes with him and not trying to hurt him, especially since he is such a big actor out there?
You know what? Funny enough, I wasn't nervous at all about that. That's one part I'm not. I was more nervous about doing scenes, acting with him, because I'm like, he's such a veteran. I don't want him to think I'm, oh, what am I doing on screen with this guy? So, which, it wasn't the case at all, which made me so happy. But in terms of action, I am so used to working with people that have no experience in the stunt industry. That's what I've made a career out of it, being the person that makes the other person look great, And in martial arts, I mean, that's called being an uke. Uke is, the training partner. And I used to be a partner of choice for everybody going for their black belt exams, because they knew that no matter what they did, Alain would make them look good. So that's what they would say. So all of a sudden I became this, go-to uke for everybody. And I love doing it. So for me, when I work with somebody like Nick, I mean, I know that on the action, I am leading the scene when it comes to doing this. And I know it so well that I know exactly, even if he does something different, slightly different, it's not positioned the same, I'll adjust for him all the time, no matter what. And that's how we make it work. I adjust to his rhythm. I adjust to his speed. I adjust to his movement patterns. And I do that for everybody I do scenes with all the time. I did the same for Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson's a fighter. It doesn't mean he's a screen fighter, right? Mm-hmm. So I had to adjust my rhythm and the way I did things for Mike Tyson as well. And it turned out to be great. When you have two people in a scene trying to lead the scene, you do this,
You could correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't this your third lead acting role in your career? I mean, aren't you used to this now that you are the main actor?
Yeah, well, it is my third time around, and I'm blessed, and I feel very fortunate for that experience. But yeah, I'm getting used to that. But at the same time, I mean, when I'm working on a film, I don't really think of it that way. When I'm working on a film, I'm like, yeah, I'm starring in the film, but at the same time, my goal is for everybody to look great. Because to me, it's about the film. If the film is good and successful and everybody loves it, that means everybody that was part of it is successful, And that's how Dimitri sees it too. Dimitri Locatetis, our director and producer, that's what he wants. That's his vision all the time. That's how he works. That's why he's so collaborative. He's looking out for the film first all the time, So when I work with other cast members, I'll give you an example. Marie Avgeropoulos did a scene with Tony Jaa, and they had this fight that they did together. And Marie was like, oh my God, he's like a ninja. What's going on? So I took her and I showed her exactly what she needed to do to look good in the scene and everything else. Because for me, I needed her and Tony to look good together, because this way we all look great together, So it's very important to me to treat it that way.
As a person who had a very long stunt career, is there any moment you ever said, you know what, I want a different stuntman to replace me just for this particular scene?
No, not at all. Not once. Absolutely not. I refuse to. And a few times I'm told, Alain, maybe, I don't think you should do this. And there's one moment in this movie that almost happened. They tried to schedule me on a main unit while doing this shot on a second unit. And I was like, no, guys, you're not doing it. Change. And I told Brian, our first AD, I was like, change the schedule. Change, because I'm doing that thing. Like, don't even go there. So finally, I said, listen, if it's for schedule purposes, it's fine. I'm okay with it. But if it's just for safety purposes, I can do this very safely. So please give it to me, And I ended up doing it no matter what. So I was happy about that. Actually, it's in the trailer. I almost didn't talk about it. It's when we jump off the cliff. It's the cliff that you see in the trailer in the movie. Yeah. It's a 40-foot cliff into the sea. And that's where they were like, ooh, do we let him do it? Do we not let him do it? I did it 25 times. So it was all, I jumped off that cliff 25 times. Yeah, it was awesome. I loved it.
You know what? That's probably the only stunt I probably could do. Also, I would love to jump off a cliff. Honestly,
So much fun, you know. The action, the stunts is the fun part for me, you know, and that's my specialty. And I think it's also what makes me unique in the industry. It's not just doing the fights. Being the hero is great and it's fun. It's being the fall guy at the same time. If I'm taking the bumps and the falls and doing these things, it also makes me very unique, you know, because nobody else does that.
absolutely. Now you have done a few movies so far. You have acted and starred along with a lot of action stars, a lot of fighters. Is there someone like on the top of your wish list that you still want to basically be in the same movie with?
Um, you mean as an actors?
Yes,
Yeah,
actors, fighters.
absolutely. You know, top of my list is somebody I look up to as an actor. Obviously, it's I was talking to my friend about it yesterday. Actually, Brad Pitt. I would love to be in a film with Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt is one of my favorite actors. I've been watching him since Legends of the Fall. That was the first film I think I saw him in, and from there I followed his career. And I think Brad Pitt can do anything. He's such a, whether it's comedy, drama, action, he can do it all and look incredible doing it, which is really cool. And I think he's just a fantastic actor to watch. So as an actor, I look up to him and I say, hey, hopefully I can be like that one day. You know, that would definitely be top of my list.
Absolutely. And of course, what actually created your career right now is the Kickboxer series. Can you give us an update on where we're heading for, I believe it's the conclusion to your trilogy, right?
Yes, it's the third film of the trilogy. It's called Kickboxer Armageddon, and it is the ultimate kickboxer. It's, to me, I've already read the script. We've had the script for a while. It is the greatest progression that we could have for kickboxer. I think it'll be the best of all three films, and we're ready to throw everything in the kitchen sink in this movie. You know, so it's we're planning for 2021 to shoot it. If everything goes well, that's where we're headed. And it will definitely bring back a lot of characters from the first two films, bring them all together. And we're taking Kurt Sloan somewhere he's never been before. And that's what's exciting to me. We're taking him to a very dark place so we can find the light again. So and the action will be something that will surpass both other kickboxer films for sure. Guaranteed.
And Dimitri told me, because I'm actually from Thailand myself, so I adored Tony Jaa. And Dimitri told me is that the same fight teams are all from Thailand that you actually use for kickboxing, Kickboxer 1 and 2, and also for this film.
Right.
What about those guys that you love working with them so much?
Well, number one, they're extremely talented. They can do they do it all. They do acrobatics, they take hits, they do it all. Jim is such a nice guy. He's got an eye for action. He's got an eye also for camera angles and that kind of stuff. He knows how to shoot action properly, and he also knows how to make it impactful. And that's what Dimitri loves, I think, and I love as well. You know, choreography is can be cool, but if you don't get the impact, if you don't feel it on, like when you watch it, it's not the same. These guys love to hit. They love contact. They love we call it positive contact, right? They'll even take it to the face, and which is something I've done in the past, but not a lot of people are willing to take like a good boom face smack, right? And these guys, sometimes we plan it well, we make sure it stays safe all the time. But if I say, hey, Jim is their stunt coordinator. He'll say, Alain, I want you to go and you're going to flip backwards, land on your hand, and I want to land the kick right here on my guy. And I'm like, really? You want me to do that? And he's like, yeah, I know, I trust you. You're going to control it. I'm like, okay, cool. The guys are always in the right place at the right time, no matter what. And I do have a lot of control, and they will not flinch. They will just whoop, boom. And at the end, we finished it. They say cut. And I'm always like, oh my God, are you okay? And they're like, thumbs up, everything's good. And it's not everywhere that you'll find stunt performers that are willing to do that and that have the ability to do that safely. And that's one of the reasons Dimitri really loves working with them, and I love working with them as well.
Excellent. Well, one more thought, because obviously you have lots of fans around the world, and you don't have an easy job because your training is actually pretty difficult. Could you walk us through what your typical day of training is?
Well, typically I do martial arts throughout the week. I mean, one session is about an hour to an hour and a half, usually sometimes 2 hours for a martial arts session. I usually pick something to work on, whether it's kicks, jujitsu, more, acrobatics, that kind of stuff, acrobatic kicks. So I kind of pick a theme on that day and I work on that, and then I do the conditioning after that. So conditioning for me, it cycles. So sometimes I'm doing 30-minute circuits, which is our program K2X Fit. These are 30-minute circuits, they're full body circuits, a lot of body weight to really, I guess, I like functional fitness because I want to make sure I'm getting better at doing all the martial arts elements that I'm good at now. So I like functional fitness, but sometimes obviously you got to get bigger, you got to, grow the muscles. So then I'll help in the gym and I'll do, I'll push weights, heavy weights and that kind of stuff, depending on the role that's coming up. But typically every day I'll work out for about 2 to 2.5 hours, and that's it. And then I stretch a lot. I do a lot of stretching, make sure, I'm keeping my body in a good place, and recover tons.
Well, you know what? That sounds difficult with me. So I think I'd rather jump off a cliff 25 times.
There you go. Next time you can do it with me.
You know what? I will. Hey, congratulations once again. I look forward on speaking with you again on your very next project.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I look forward to it too.
Hey, thank you. Bye now.
Bye-bye.